Welcome everyone to this edition of Infotouch University Online, where we go in depth into the various features and functions of our POS product line, Storekeeper POS and Store Manager. Today's topic, gift cards, gift certificates, and the customer store credit certificate. So let's get started. And the place to get started here is first a little review of terminology, and we'll go into our optional tender setting to take a look at some things here. So there's nothing sacrosanct about this, but in our typical way of describing tender types, we are looking to use some standard terms that will probably make it easier for everybody. So we have it's really one tender type that has multiple flavors that handles all of these things, gift cards, gift certificates, and a special flavor of a gift certificate called the customer store credit certificate. We usually use the term gift card when we are externally verifying a card. So if you use Mercury, if you use Sterling, and also if you're a store manager reseller and you choose to use the PC charge interface, we do support gift cards from First Data. Currently, that's the only other gift card type that we support besides the ones from Mercury and Sterling, but that is available and has been for some time. It has been certified by First Data. Unlike credit cards, you typically need to go through a separate certification for each gift card type that you support. So those are the three options today. So when a customer comes in and they have a card, we swipe it through the credit card swipe, and we go out and get authorization for that. And that is something we typically call a gift card, as does everybody else, I think. We use the term gift certificate typically for something that is handled in-store only. So there is no communication to an external processor. Instead, the information is optionally tracked locally in the store. And optionally is based on the fact that we have different authorization types. So first of all, let's take a look at the tenders we have here. Here's our gift card tender. You'll notice it has a validation type of gift card / certificate. And this can actually be used for both gift cards and gift certificates. In one tender type, we are going to be handling both the putting of money onto the card or certificate and the redeeming of that. And when you do both of those with a single tender type, which is typical for gift cards, you will just have a validation type of gift card / certificate, call it whatever you like on the tender side of things. And the key to making the system process it properly is through the authorization type of gift card. Okay, you'll notice we also have two other tender types here, issue GC for gift certificate and redeem GC. And you'll notice just below the gift card / certificate validation type, there's two separate types, and these are typically only used for gift certificates, not for gift cards. Why do we have two tender types when we're really just talking about one tender, gift certificates here, which, by the way, are now being tracked in this setup separately from our gift cards? This is an option, as I mentioned just a second ago. If we used the gift card / certificate validation type, we could do both issuing and redeeming in the same on the same tender type. The reason we typically recommend that you separate those two out is the way it's displayed in the register on receipts and for counting up the cash drawer. When you have one type that's for both issuing and redeeming, we have to have some way of indicating on the screen when you're counting it up, etc., whether we're issuing or redeeming. Now, in our software, a issuing of a gift card or certificate, meaning you give the store some kind of money and they put value onto the card or certificate, that is a tender exchange. It is not a sale. And essentially, the issuing side of this is a negative tender that balances, let's say you issue a gift certificate for $25, somebody gives you $25 in cash, you've just exchanged one form of tender for another. In order to be able to properly track that as separate tender types, if we use the same combined tender type, we actually will put a negative number both on the screen. So when you issue the gift certificate for 25, it's going to show up on the screen as minus 25, and then you pay cash with 25, balance is 0, transaction's finished, prints that way on the receipt. And also when you're counting up your money in your drawer, when you are counting up an issued gift certificate, if you're going to do that, you need to put in a negative number if you use a single tender type, this tender type. So to make that a little less confusing for people, we recommend that you actually go ahead and use the separate validation type for issuing and for redeeming. And at that point, since we know whether we're issuing or redeeming at the time of the sale and when we're counting up the money in the drawer, we don't put the negative number. It really is a negative tender at this point that's offsetting the positive tender you've accepted, but we don't display it that way and we don't make you count it up that way because we know, based on the validation type, that we are getting money for this. So that's typically how those are handled in our software. Now here, this is an in-store gift certificate that we're going to potentially track locally. I've used that term potentially a few times now. If your authorization type is set to authorization desk local, then we will. So you have a gift certificate database in the store, and in order to issue and redeem gift certificates, you first have to create it. We'll go over this in just a second. Then you issue it, and as you redeem it, we have a record in our gift certificate database that allows us to track how much money is left on that gift certificate. Another option here is only record number. And only record number allows you to accept gift certificates that are not in your database. Now, there's no way for us to track it at that point except for the number of it, the gift certificate number, and we'll prompt you for that at the point of sale, but we don't do anything with it at that point except record it. So if you're in a mall, for example, your store may have its own gift certificates, but if you're going to accept mall certificates and you don't actually have those numbers available, when somebody comes in, you can go ahead and simply accept those certificates, the redeeming side here being more likely use of that for being able to take those things without actually having the gift certificate in your in-store database, and you would do it that way. I'm not going to save this off, though. Generally speaking, most people are using the authorization local type to track those certificates in the in-store database and gift cards for external verification. All right, well, with that, let's get started on just taking a look at how things work for each of these transaction types. We're in the beauty salon here, and let's take a look at the different tenders. Now, you will typically see, and of course this is customizable by you, but this is our typical looking register screen over here. In particular, this right-hand column with the tender types in green, cash, check, of course, credit cards for obviously credit cards, but remember in optional tenders, the credit cards are also lumped in with gift cards and gift certificates. So other tenders button is typically used for going ahead and invoking any non-credit card optional tender. So if I wanted to redeem a gift certificate, for example, a gift card, we're starting with gift cards here. Let's say somebody gets a haircut and I want to use my gift card. I would then hit redeem, enter the amount that we're going to put on it. Doesn't matter, I'm not going to go past this, and then we would swipe the card now, and if it was a valid gift card, we'd go out and either get a verification or a decline, and if it's verified, then of course we reduce the balance on the card. One point here that works, by the way, with both gift cards and as of fairly recently, gift certificates, is the ability to automatically adjust the amount of the card if the balance does not meet what you're trying to use. So I'm trying to do $30 on this gift card. Let's say it only has a balance of $25. Okay, what would be the not elegant way to handle this would be to come back and say, sorry, you don't have $30 declined. Instead, what we do automatically for you is knock that tender type down to the 25 or whatever the balance happens to be, and not make you, because obviously the next step if you're declined is you're going to want to then do a balance inquiry, figure out how much you got on it and use it for that. Instead, we just assume, hey, if you're trying to use this for more than the balance, and we'll just reduce it to the balance on the card. So this would then get reduced to that $25 amount. There would be a special message that would pop on indicating that we've done that for you, and really it's a much more convenient way to operate. So redeeming a gift card that's already got some money on it, very straightforward, automatically reduces if the balance is not available. Now, kind of a funny thing about our system here is that when it comes to tendering, we want to see a sale line. We figure if, and this is just kind of habit over the years, but it's really kind of ingrained in the software and not unreasonable, that if somebody's going to do some tendering, let's go ahead and clear this sale out, we expect that there's got to be a line item that they're going to use to pay for it. Well, that works in all kinds of situations, but it doesn't work necessarily if somebody comes up to the counter and simply wants to, let's say they're going to get a gift card. They really don't want anything else. So we come up here and we'd like to be able to, the term is activate a gift card, and we'll go into that in just a second. But what used to happen if you tried to hit one of these tender buttons is it would go and say, well, there's no line items, I can't do anything for you. So that was sort of awkward in this situation, and we've gone ahead and put in a few smarts into the product so that it kind of tries to help you through that. So I'm going to hit this other tenders, maybe this, remember this is non-credit card optional tenders, and when it sees that there is no line item, and it also sees that you have gift cards and or gift certificates, it will try to help you out. So no line items. Oh, would you like to do something with the gift card? Sure. Okay, and you'll note that we automatically added a line item just kind of to keep the software happy. The line item will be in your non-inventory department, whatever it's called. In this salon, the non-inventory department name is called Notes, and the description is we're doing some kind of gift card function and there's no amount associated with it. Okay, so in the world of gift cards, we've seen redeeming. Well, redeeming is at a minimum step 2 in any gift card setting. What you need to do to begin with a gift card is to activate it. And activation is simply the point in time where this card has never been used before, and we're about to accept some money on it, and we want to go ahead and get some balance onto the card. But before we can use it, it has to be activated, and we have to put in some kind of amount. Now here again, I'm not in a position to show this to you, but you'll notice, by the way, the gift card -10 there usually doesn't bother people so much with gift cards as with gift certificates. We would now swipe the card, and then we would go ahead and let's see if we can do this. Nope, it's not going to let me through it. Oh well, I tried. We would go ahead and swipe the card, and then we would figure out how to pay for it, because you'll notice there is a balance here. So once we get that money on the card, we'll go ahead and balance it out with some cash or check or however they're going to pay for it. So life in the gift card world starts out with activation. At any point in time, you can check on the balance of a gift card. So swipe it, and we'll come back and just show you what the balance is. Notice that since I have a line item up here, when I hit the other tenders button, it went through and said, oh, okay, this is nothing unusual. and then I selected gift card. Another thing that you can do with gift cards very commonly is reload them. So once you get down to a small amount or zero on that card, rather than throwing it away, you can go ahead and put some more money on that. And that process is referred to as reloading. It is essentially the same as activation as far as the tendering is concerned. That is to say, we're putting money on the card and we're going to pay for it somehow. But the activation can only happen once and must happen the first time you use it. Thereafter, if you want to put more money, it's called a reload. These are terms from the gift card industry. So here's the 4 different things you can do with a gift card. You activate it, reload it, redeem it, check on the balance. And again, the gift card processors we work with today, Mercury, Sterling, and with PC Charge, First Data. Okay, let's go ahead now and move on to gift certificates. Okay, this is an in-store process, so let's start here. I'm going to come back to the main menu, go into Transaction Manager, and you note that we have a gift certificates button here. This is where you enter in your certificate numbers that you're going to track, and there's 2 ways to do this. Under Create Gift Certificates, you can put in an individual gift certificate. Let's call it ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we just saved it. Now, for those of you who've been working with us for a while, you may recognize that there used to be an optional amount field that you could put in here. So you could predefine a gift certificate for a specific amount. You can't do that anymore. And the reason has to do with a limitation that we traded off that feature for. It used to be you could predefine the amount, but you could not reload a gift certificate. You would issue it, and that's the term used typically instead of activation, but it's basically the same thing. And you could never put more money on it. But as of current release, we do allow you to put money on it, more money, a reload, and we do use the term reload here as well for gift certificates. But the trade-off is we don't have any fixed amount that we could allow you to force a gift certificate to be issued for. So all gift certificates basically are issued with an amount of 0, meaning that when you issue it and take money for it and in the register, then we're going to go ahead and use whatever amount you say at that time. It's not predefined. And to me, at least, that seems like a small price to pay for being able to put more money on a gift certificate. That was something that people asked for quite a lot, and that now is in place. The other thing you can do with gift certificates is to make a range of them. So if I'm going to issue 100 gift certificates, I'd rather not put them in one at a time, especially if I'm going to use some kind of standard numbering method. You'll notice there's a prefix field, and this is optional. You don't have to use it, but I'm going to. So I'm going to put in T2, test 2. And then you'll see there's a 6-digit number. There's a from and a to, and we will always actually fill that out for you to 6 digits in this range creation process. So let's say I wanted to create 100 gift certificates, T20001 through, notice the leading zeros got put in automatically. So T21 through T2100, and we just created literally that quickly 100 gift certificates. You can see that, by the way, in the gift certificate report, gift card / certificate, which has 2 flavors. One shows you the use of gift cards and certificates during the day. The select range option actually just reports on the gift certificates only. It doesn't report on gift cards. We don't track those in the system. So for example, I wanted to take a look at everything that started with a certificate number of T2. You'll notice on 7/6/11, that would be today, we created 100, actually I guess, yeah, 100 different gift certificates. And they're all blank at this point. They're created, and now we need to do something with it. So let's go ahead and do something with it. And we do that in the register, of course. Now, same thing as we had with activating a gift card, we have the same kind of issue with what is called issuing a gift certificate. Namely, the software is just unhappy about you doing anything with tenders until you have a line item. So we noticed before when we hit the other tenders button, we came up with a prompt for gift cards. If I say no to this, or if I don't have gift cards at all, and I do have gift certificates, it would come right to this screen and say, hey, okay, well, would you like to do something with a gift certificate? We can check on the balance right here, or we can issue/reload it. And the software really doesn't distinguish from that, it's just that the first time that you put some money on it, it's counted as an issue, and any other time it's a reload. Both of them are really tracked the same way. So issue is essentially activate for a gift certificate. If you're wondering why the terminology is different, we did gift certificates long before we did gift cards, and this was the terminology we used. We haven't changed it, but we also adopted the standard gift card terminology. So if I wanted to issue or reload a gift certificate, notice we get the notes issue gift certificate at this point because we're just making a comment essentially on what's about to happen. And let's say I want to put $10 on this gift certificate. What's the number? T2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By the way, if you have these on a mag stripe or on a barcode, you can scan it at this point. You don't have to type it in, but in a lot of cases, people don't. So, and notice, by the way, because we have the special issue gift certificate tender type, instead of the saying -10, it just says 10. Because we know anytime we're dealing with the special issue gift certificate tender type is a negative number. Positive numbers come in when we redeem it. So they're going to pay with cash, they'll give us $10, and we just issued that gift certificate. Let's go back to our report here, just down the list of ways. And you'll notice now that number 1 of this series has now been issued for $10. Has a balance of $10 because we haven't used it yet. So let's use it. We're going to buy a shampoo now. Let's buy some Paul Mitchell, I should say. Paul Mitchell shampoo. And how would you like to pay for that? Well, I'd like to redeem a gift certificate. And I'm going to redeem it for the full amount, $12.55. And the certificate number now can be scanned or entered in manually. And remember what I said before, balance on the redeemed gift certificate was reduced to 10. We did basically copy this from the gift card functionality, which always supported this kind of option. We didn't do it originally with gift certificates, but that has been added. So instead of having to check on the balance and re-ring it up, we're just going to redeem that card for $10, or the certificate rather, for $10 because that's all we've got on it. I still have a balance of $2.55, and I'll pay with cash. So now I've made that sale, and that gift certificate has a 0 balance on it. It can be reloaded, however. Let's run this report one more time. And you'll notice that it was redeemed for $10, balance 0. Let's go ahead and reload it just to see how that works. I'm going to put another $5 on it, and it looks exactly basically the same as when we issued it to begin with, but now it's back and ready to be used. I can also check on the balance of it right here. If I enter then the certificate number correctly, at least. And there's the balance, $5, which we just put on it. So in-store gift certificates can be issued, have to be issued to begin with, reloaded at any time you want, and redeemed for up to the balance available on the certificate, typically tracked in the in-store database. If you did not have the authorization local type set for your gift certificates, if it was set to only record number, then we couldn't do things like reduce the balance because we have no idea what the balance is. We're just going to take it for whatever you tell us. We're going to take any number you give us. We don't do any tracking on it. So if I've mentioned mall certificates, perhaps also maybe your store has issued gift certificates in the past before you got our wonderful POS and you didn't track them all. You want to be able to take them that way as well, so you can do that. And you can, by the way, have separate tender types. We already see here in the screen that there is both a gift card and 2 gift certificate tender types. You could potentially add another gift certificate tender type. Let's call it mall coupon, and only record the number. So you can still track your own store certificates and handle outside certificates as well. So lots of flexibility here. Okay, the last topic in this series here, or this session, has to do with a very special gift certificate, and we call it the Customer Store Credit Certificate. Now, there are a number of ways you can handle store credit. A customer buys something from you, comes back and returns it. They're unhappy with it, got the wrong size, who knows. They want their money back, and you could give them their money back, or you could give them a credit to get their money at a later time, forcing them to use that credit in your store. Lots of stores, of course, like to do this, and we have a nice way of tracking that for any sale that is linked to a customer. And we call that I'm going to go to the gift card certificate area here. There's some other options here that I'll just briefly mention, that you can limit the amount of cash change or not allow cash change is more likely. Whether we default the amount of the sale when you use that gift certificate, we by default don't. If you have a slip printer, you could have this printer endorse the gift certificate after it's issued and also after it's redeemed. This would be, of course, the paper certificate type, not a gift card. Issue control is normally checked, and that ensures that you can't use a gift certificate that has not yet been issued. We need the money on it first before we're going to give you credit for it. Okay, this is the one I wanted to talk about, and this is a really cool option in a lot of ways. So we want to go ahead and give the customer credit in our store. We want them to use that credit in our store, and we want to track it. You can put in a tender type, for example, no validation, store credit, and add that guy in there. And some people will do that. And then when they refund it, they bring in a refund, you use the store credit tender type, and their evidence of it is basically the receipt. That's not very secure or very handy. The customer store credit certificate, however, is both secure and handy. And what the customer store credit certificate internally is a gift certificate whose number is the same as the customer number. And whether you track your in-store certificates with the valid authorization local type or only record number, by the way, you do have to have some gift card or certificate tender for this function to work or to be allowed. Regardless of whether you're, let's say you only record the number, when you do a customer store credit certificate, it is always tracked in the in-store gift certificate database. So the options are, when using this kind of function, whether you want to prompt to use the in-store certificate, that store credit certificate, or force it. Prompting is generally probably more reasonable. So let's see how that works. I'm going to do a return sale. Got password protection on this guy. And let's say we bought the wrong size of shampoo. I'm going to tie this sale to a customer in this database called Betty Walker. And we're going to go ahead and return her shampoo. There's that Paul Mitchell, $11.95. And now, how do we want to refund her money? We want to refund her money by putting it on a gift certificate. Let's put the whole amount on there. And once you do that, if you've got the customer store credit certificate feature enabled and it's set to prompt, you'll get this, do you want to use it? If it's set to force, by the way, you don't see the screen, it will force it, as the name says. And there we go. So we've just made a transaction now and used the customer in-store gift certificate to track that. And you'll notice when we bring up her record again, Betty Walker's record here, it'll show you right there. She's got $12.55 in store credit. Let's say she wants to get her nails done. And we do have to link this to the customer in order to use that. Do we want to go ahead and pay for that? Yeah, with my credit, which is essentially a redeem function on a credit card of a gift certificate. We'll put the whole amount on there. And again, do we want to use that? Sure. So she's just now paid for that with her previous credit from the return. And you notice her store credit is reduced. So we are tracking that literally in the gift certificate database the same way we would track any other gift certificate. The number of the gift certificate is actually her customer number. And this is a nice feature to use when you want to be able to control how money gets refunded to customers and ensuring in this case that we spend that money in the store that gave her sold her to the stuff in the first place. We don't want her to take that money and go spend it somewhere else. We want her to come back here. Of course, once she has a store credit, she's very likely to do that. All right, so one last thing I want to show you here that's related to this stuff is if you have the customer store credit certificate set to prompt or force, in other words, you use it, it's not no, you can take advantage of that with our loyalty funds program. So we're here in miscellaneous 7 now. Here's our frame for our loyalty program. Currently, this is set to loyalty points, and points have nothing to do with the customer store credit certificate. If you get to this screen and loyalty funds is grayed out, it is because you don't have the customer store credit certificate enabled, because that's how we track the loyalty funds. So if we give a customer credit of $1 for every $100 in sales that they make, when they buy something from us and we link the sale to the customer, we will put those loyalty funds onto the customer store credit certificate so that he or she is able to then take advantage of that at a later point in time to use those loyalty funds. And this is dollars regardless of the items bought. The loyalty funds is very simple compared to loyalty points, where you actually set up per item or range of items how many points you earn when you buy this, and whether it's subject to being purchased with points and how many points it takes to buy it, item by item. With loyalty funds, we don't care. Anything you buy, we're going to give you a credit, in this case, of $1 per $100 in sales. And we'll go ahead and put that on your customer store credit certificate. And when you link the sale to the customer, just like we saw a second ago here in the register, you'll see that store credit right there. So that can come not only from refunds or exchanges, but also by using the loyalty funds program. This concludes our coverage of gift cards, gift certificates, and the customer store credit certificate.